All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of the Big Shred podcast. I am John Matos, and today we've got a special For the Nomads episode for you. So, have a couple of really awesome guests. I've got Frank Fanelli and Nick Marrero, both some awesome dudes that are in the crew touring industry and have been in the game for a long time. They, are working with some of the biggest bands in the metal genre. Frank himself crossing over into some other genres as well, hip hop included and things like that. So Frank, his list of folks that he works with includes Black Veil Brides, Jid, Andy Black, Pennywise, Emir, Yellow Wolf, Symphony X, which I just saw, which is pretty sick. Hatebreed, Oceano, Chelsea Grin, and he is also the owner of Cat Clothing. So hopefully you've heard of Cat Clothing or seen some of Frank's sick shirts all over the place. Nick, I had the pleasure of meeting on the last Suffocation tour that Abiotic did. So he's tour manager and merch as well for bands like Against Suffocation, Belphegor, The Absence, Internal Bleeding, Black Dahlia Murder, and tons of others. So super stoked to talk it over with both of these guys, get into their brains on what got them into the game and how they're feeling about the state of the touring world, basically. So really excited for it. So the show today is brought to you by Ormsby Guitars. So awesome brand of guitars out of Australia. Obviously I am an artist as well, and through Ormsby you can get some really sick guitars. They've got 6, 7, and 8 strings, multi-scales, standard scales. They've got artists like Dino from Fear Factory, Rusty Cooley. They've got the Headless Goliaths, which is what I play, and all tons of cool shit. So definitely check out the Reverb for Ormsby Guitars and pick up a guitar today. Now, without further ado, I'll go ahead and bring on our first guest, which again is For the Nomads founder, Frank Fanelli. Oh, let me see what's going on here. You still there, Frank?
Oh, I'm here.
Well, may need to fix something here with our source. Give me a sec. Wouldn't be an episode without some technical difficulties. Hang tight. You're always looking really good, bud. All right. Give you just a sec here. All right. Frank, I don't have your video, dude. Did you turn your video off or something? Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not seeing you in Skype. It's just showing up as you want to try and maybe leave and jump back in? Yeah, get out of Skype and then come back in. All right, guys. Well, while we work on the technical difficulties with Frank, I promise he'll be on here in a second. He actually posted the link. He commented the link for the nomads.org in the comments of this stream. Please take a look at that. Head on over. What we're trying to do with this is obviously, put together some funds. As you're aware, the Abiotic has been doing the thing for quite some time in getting, for the Nomads. We've got that shirt design that we're trying to move. And 75% of the proceeds for that t-shirt is going to be going to For the Nomads. So give me one sec here while I try and bring Frank on. Dude, this is so weird, Frank. I can't see you. All right, so what we're gonna do. It's so strange. It's it is probably something weird on my end. Um,
I mean, you're wearing that Yankee
So-
hat. You're just making me miss baseball, man.
Dude, I don't want to even talk about it.
Uh,
Did you see?
fucking dying.
Are people hearing us talk right now?
Frank, so your audio is good to go. So I'm gonna say let's just do a little audio interview since the video's being all wacky.
Oh my God!
Can you put a picture of Frank up?
I got all. I put on a
Done
suit
up?
for this.
Guys, if you didn't know, I was looking at Frank very clearly right before the stream started, and he was looking fantastic. So
I put on a suit for this. This is my late night debut, and I am ashamed to be getting the paycheck that you're giving me. No, I'm joking.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw our other guest on mute so we don't get distracted here. But Nick is hanging out in the comments. All right, awesome. So Frank, thanks for bearing with me on these technical difficulties. But how the hell are you, man?
I'm great, man. I wish everybody could see the three-piece suit that I'm currently wearing, but but I'm doing good, man. Just trucking along.
Well, good. Glad to hear it, man. So, yeah, we can just jump right into it. First, again, I'm just so fucking bummed that I can't see you because we had everything all nice and set up before we started the damn thing. But yeah, so we go back. Remind me, was it 2012 or 2013 that we did that tour together with The World We Knew?
It has to be 2012 because we broke up in 2013.
Okay, yeah. So then it was
Yeah.
like the end of 2012 or something. Was the one that you did? It was us and King Conquer. Was that like one of the last ones?
Yeah, I would have to say that's probably the last summer tour that we did.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it might have been one of the last summer tours we ever did in general. Yeah, it had to have been. We did the U.S. portion, and then the Canada portion was without you guys, correct?
Yeah. So we just did the U.S. Part of that. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. No, that I remember one of my only vivid memories from that tour is your bass player breaking his arm or something like that.
It was his thumb. And actually, hang on, give me 1 sec because by some miracle, I have video of Frank. We're making it happen. We're doing it. So everyone's just gonna watch me edit your thing into this little box really quick. Guys, you're seeing some in the background in the background magic right now. That we're making it work. We're doing what we can. All right, you know what? This is how it's gonna look, and killer. Anyway, yeah. So he didn't. It wasn't his arm. It was his. It was like his thumb. So his thumb. It was at that Long Island show, which I guess was technically Long Island, and he decided to like stand as close to the pit as he possibly could. I think it was for your set actually, and he was standing there and someone was doing like the crowd kill thing, and somebody I think like punched or something his thumb out of the socket.
Doesn't it sound like such a pussy ass move?
It was shot actually. So somebody punched his thumb out of the socket, and our merch guy at the time, like he ran to the merch table. Our merch guy at the time just like popped it back into the socket. And what was worse is that like I think it was like 2 days left of the tour, and I think probably a month to the day, we were supposed to be like regional guests for Summer Slaughter, and we like rushed him to a hospital after the show, and they're like, "Oh, he can't play for like 4 weeks." So we were like, "Fuck," like what are we gonna do? Like we just got this offer to do the regional dates of Slaughter and shit. It ended up working out. Like it just worked out though. Like it almost didn't. So, but luckily it did. But yeah, that was a fun one, man. That was like a full month too. It was pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of blends together now because that's nearly 10 years ago, and
Yeah,
I've
dude.
done like an astronomical amount of touring since then. But I remember all having a good time. You still had long hair, which was rad.
Yeah. It was
Right?
before I fucking got a job. got a real boy job.
Yeah, I love that. I still don't know what that is.
Yeah. No, but yeah, dude, that I still think about that tour all the time. Just moments like that still like really really stick out to me. And I remember on that tour for whatever reason there was like a lot of stair load-ins. I don't
I,
know if
I'd have to look at the ad mat again to see where we went, but
yeah.
I remember specifically. You're gonna laugh at this one. At that show where your bass player fucked up his hand.
Yeah.
I definitely saw boobs in the parking lot that day.
Oh, okay. Sick. And that's what
I mean,
inspired cat clothing. No.
yeah, that's a good day at the office right there.
Oh yeah. You can't ask for too much more than that. Not
Yeah.
I went doing what we were doing and playing that venue that was like the venue that was across the street from a landfill. And I say street, it was just like dirt road, really. But so
Yeah.
not the best smelling, no air conditioned venue that I've ever played. But
In the middle of the summer.
yeah, it was a time. But that's the shit that puts some proverbial hair on your chest, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if I didn't do if I didn't do those tours early on as a musician,
Yeah,
there's definitely things that I did later on as a tour manager or merchandiser or whatever that I wouldn't have necessarily been prepared for.
yeah,
No questions asked. It's like let's just say I had calluses the whole time,
right.
and through the duration of my musicianship, all of the calluses just got sanded down, and then I came into being a tour manager, and it was all smooth
Yeah, yeah.
because I knew what hell felt like.
Exactly, and it keeps you humble, right? Because like there are some guys that are fortunate enough to start their tours in a bus or like with the fancy schmancy shit and aren't used to doing the damn thing, roughing it like we were. So
Yeah, even now, every time I step foot on a bus, I'm like, yeah, I fucking deserve to be here. But I also I look around and I'm like, God damn it, this is great.
yeah, right.
I mean, I've been touring for 14 years. It's like I appreciate those things that are big in the grand scheme of things, but that's still just it's like you're in a moving house. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
a wonderful
that's a good
wonderful
point.
thing. Sometimes I take it for granted, but like, and then I'll sit back and just remember like things like that where we played and right across the street from a fucking landfill in like a garage in the middle of the Bronx. It's like nobody wants to do that, but we did it.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got the story, right? Where what is it? Like you said, almost 10 years later, that's
Yeah.
that's still some shit that's embedded. So after The World We Knew, which for anyone who doesn't know, Frank was and still is technically the vocalist of The World We Knew. You guys are still technically like around again,
Ah,
sort
no.
of.
No, but only because I don't necessarily need it to be or want it to be. I don't want it to ever be dead by any means, but
Right.
we're not actively seeking out any new endeavors by any means.
Sure.
In like 1 week from now, we were supposed to play a festival in Pennsylvania that never got announced. So
Oh, damn.
eventually, when it does get announced, maybe we'll do it. But we were supposed to. It was a pretty big festival. One time a year. It was good, but it just didn't happen, and that's okay. But yeah, it was our 15-year anniversary in 2019.
Yeah.
And we did 2 home shows that sold out that were really, really, really fun. Got a bunch of bands together from our general era of time from Long Island. and had a bunch of bands do reunions, like one-time sets, and it was great. We probably had nothing to do with it selling out. A lot of the other bands probably did, but
I'm sure you did.
yeah, no, it was great. It was worth it. All the effort that we took. We planned it for like 6 months to make it really work, and it was a good time. We have some recordings from demos and stuff that we might end up putting out eventually, but uh, it's not on my like top list of things to do because I thankfully I've been keeping pretty busy while we're hanging out during this downtime.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah, you have. You were even, you were giving me some insider info on that, and we'll dive deep into that as well. But on the world we knew tip, so yeah, you and I caught up again after however long it was, at that JID show that you were kind enough to put me on, and yeah, you were telling me about the show and everything. So I'm so stoked on how that turned out for you guys, because I know that like you said, you had it in the works for a long time, and you hadn't been on stage in a while. So what was that like? Was that like super cathartic, just like being back home almost?
It's funny because I was really, really stressing myself out about it, like
Yeah.
big time stressing myself out about it. Because it's not so much like I was worried about me being a vocalist again or something like that. It was a matter of it like, why am I doing this if it doesn't succeed? You know
Right.
what I mean? And that's just, you scare yourself because you haven't done it for so long. You don't know how it's going to be. And when we announced the first show, because we did two,
Yeah.
we announced the first show. It got really close to selling out on pre-sale like a while in advance, and I was like, "Oh, that's
Awesome.
cool." And the promoter was like, "We should do another one." I was like, "No, what? No!" I was like, "There's no way. Like, how the hell is that going to work out?" And it worked out, man. Like, both shows were very, very, very good and very packed, and it was great. But I was just stressing myself out the whole time, like in the back room, just thinking whether or not like people remember or like know the words or stuff again, like
Yeah.
all those little things you worry about when you're an artist. And I just haven't
Yep.
had to worry about being an artist for so long that it was terrifying.
Yeah.
I knew I would sound fine, like as a vocalist, because we practiced a lot leading up to it. Um, but still, something about it just deep in the core of me was just like worried. And then I got up on stage and it's like nothing mattered. It was totally fine.
Yeah.
It was like seriously like jumping on a bike again after not riding a bike for 10 years. Like it just felt totally normal and totally fine. And I got super emotional a bunch of times throughout the sets for different reasons.
Yeah.
Who was there, people I haven't seen in a really long time. Like everybody I've ever loved was standing in that room both days, uh, for both sets and both shows. And
Oh,
it was
dude.
just very, um, it was very, very cool to relive those moments with people I either haven't seen in a really long time and the bands that I loved that decided to come back together just for us. Like
Yeah.
those kind of situations, it all kind of hit me big time when it really ended up being successful. But as a vocalist in general, I got up on stage and felt completely normal, and I wasn't prepared for that. I was just like, oh, okay, this is it. I'm me again, you know?
Well, dude, that's fucking awesome. I really hope that you guys, to whatever capacity you can kind of do your thing, play the festivals and all that shit, and do a little bit of shit here and there. Doesn't have to be full time or whatever, but I know, for me, obviously, one of the reasons Abiotic came back after also going on a breakup hiatus, if you will, um, was getting back on the stage, and it's just like, wow, I need to be here, however many times I can do it. If I can only do it once a year or whatever it is, I got to do this. So yeah, that would be way sick to see you guys kind of again back in some capacity,
Yeah,
but
I would like to. It just has to make sense. Like
yeah,
my schedule is pretty fucking crazy with the touring. Obviously not right now, but
yeah.
um, my schedule has been pretty crazy with the touring. And the only reason we took that Pennsylvania Fest was because it was literally in the 1 week gap that I had in 4 months.
Right.
It was just in one. It was a 1 week. I had 1 week off, and it was smack dab in the middle, right after I finished the Black Veil tour, straight before I went to Europe for all the summer festivals with Black Veil. So it just worked out. So there's there's a chance that if when they do the fest again, or they announce it, or who, I don't know, we haven't talked to them about it.
Yeah.
Where we can't do it because of my schedule. I don't know. It's all up in the air, but we'll see. I would love to play if there's anybody listening right now who has songs that I need somebody to yell on. If they're cool enough, maybe I'll try it. But
There
it's
you
just
go.
not my, yeah, it's just not my. It's not it's not in my top 3 of things that I feel are super necessary right now in my life.
Yeah. No, you've got a full plate as is, and like I said, we'll get into that right now. But in the comments, so Chris Kulak, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, says, "What up, y'all? Major thanks to Frank for having Without Remorse at one of their reunion shows."
Yeah, man. I've known not that Chris. Actually, I'd have to see. I'm really bad with names. I know there's 2 Chris's in that band, if my memory serves me right. I've known Big Chris for a very, very, very long time, and Without Remorse has always been super, super rad, great band. And Long Island, like staples. Why the fuck wouldn't I want them on one of our shows? You know what I mean? We've
Right.
played with them 100 times back in the past. There's no reason not to have them on a show, especially when they don't play that often either. I know.
Yeah.
Big Chris is in Internal Bleeding, and they're doing a lot of shit. So, no, of course that band's great. I'm glad they could play.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, seems there's a lot of like members in other bands and shit in that Long Island scene, which is dope to see. And a band like Internal Bleeding, where it's like different genres too. It's not just like guys in
Yeah,
the same kind
yeah,
of band.
absolutely. Yeah, they've been rocking the same sound that's different from like basically all of Long Island for a very long time, and doing it very well and better than most. So
Oh shit.
it's super rad. It's super rad that they've gone this long.
Nice. Well, let's get get into the namesake of our episode 10 of the podcast here. So, again, if you're just tuning in, you're just jumping onto the live stream. This is the For the Nomads special. Again, Frank is the founder of forthenomads.org, which actually I won't talk about it, Frank. I'll let you talk about it. So, what is For the Nomads? How did you come up with the idea? And what are you guys working on right now?
So, yeah, I started a fundraiser initially because I didn't know For the Nomads wasn't a thing yet. It was just I found out that the next 4 months of my touring schedule was canceled. I assistant tour manager Black Veil Brides, and I do their lighting
Yeah.
and their VIP as well. And I just found out, Live Nation pulled every tour basically on the planet, especially of our caliber size.
Yeah.
And I sat around for a couple of days just being a complete miserable prick about it. Like, I can't even beat around the bush. I was absolutely devastated, just not because of the money. Money's great and everything, but
Yeah.
like I was just like, okay, well, how long is this going to last? Because this is all I do. I don't have like other hobbies or anything.
Right.
I'm not a huge gamer or anything. Like it was one of those things where I didn't know what I was going to do because I tour 10 months out of every year for the past 14 years,
Fuck.
So yeah, it's ridiculous. So I sat around like an asshole for a bit, just feeling sorry for myself. And to make it an easier kind of situation to understand, in 2018, I did Warped Tour, and I happened to be called the merch daddy for some odd reason. Somebody took a picture of me of like doing merch, and I was just prepped up all like I looked ridiculous on the table, like with money in my hand. So somebody called me the merch daddy, whatever. I printed the picture because it was a really funny picture on a T-shirt,
Yeah.
and sold like 130 of them quick, like
God
real
damn, dude.
on the tour. Like I didn't put them online or
Sick.
anything. Like, hey, come find me. This is where I'll be. They're not going to be up like on display.
Right.
Just find me, and I'll sell you one $10.
Wow.
I sold a lot of them. So with this idea, and that was for my own bank account. Like I just wanted to make more money.
Yeah.
With this whole situation, I was thinking, all right, well, I'm going to do that with different designs, and I'm just going to pay my bills for a little while. And then the more I thought about it, while I was just sitting there coming up with ideas, I was like, well, I'll help out my whole Black Veil crew also, because we're, it's all of us together. And if we can sell a bunch of shirts, maybe they can get. If I can sell a bunch of shirts, maybe they can get a bunch of shirts sold as well.
For sure.
And we'll split it between the 5 or 6 of us, whatever. And then I just kept on thinking about it, and I was like, well, I have a lot of friends that are in the same position. Like I'm okay. I don't need to like necessarily help myself out. I have a pretty good savings. If I can get a couple dozen or 100 or more people from the touring industry that want to get on board to just spread the word around a little bit about it, that could really work. We could like really get the word out. So I set the bar at like 10,000, and I called my best friend who is my partner in this. It's only two people. It's just her and I.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Is this a crazy idea?" And she was, "No, it makes sense. It's just a matter of whether or not people give a shit or not." And I mean, we called it the Nomad fundraiser on the first day, and we raised, I think it was $12,000 or $13,000 just in the first 24 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It just, I posted something that basically just said, I'm not trying to reinvent a wheel.
Yeah.
I know how to sell merchandise and come up with a game plan for something.
Yep.
And this is my way to execute it. Any donations are made, we'll split evenly between the people who want to prove to us with their references and their tour cancellations, just, you know, the proof of it, real proof.
Yeah.
If you can prove to us, we'll split the donations between you, and anybody who donates $20 or more will get one of those crazy Merch Daddy t-shirts. And that was the plan. Super simple.
Yeah.
Nothing over the top. There's nothing. There's no big corporation behind us. There's no nothing. It's just two of us spreading the word around in hopes that other people in our position are also going to spread the word around. That's the whole thing. That's the whole goal. And here we are 6 weeks later. I mean, we've raised literally, I think we're less than $100 away from $36,000.
$36,000, man. That is huge. That's huge. And I have you had, and obviously you don't have to name any names or anything, but have you had folks reach out to you personally, like, hey, this is insane what you're doing, and you know, you're helping me at a time where I'm needing it most, and you know, all that craziness? Like, did you expect for people to reach out to you?
We set the bar so low that the second we hit the goal in 6 hours, I actually just saw somebody come in on the group chat, who literally saw my reaction live because he FaceTimed me as we hit our mark in 6 hours.
Wow.
We set the bar so low just because it seemed goofy, but who knew?
Yeah.
So I really I thought my friends would get involved, honestly. Just my immediate friends in the touring world.
Yep.
I put a list up in the original post or whatever that basically said, here's a list of 40 names of people I'm actually friends with who do this for a living.
Yeah.
Just simple, just as an example. I said, those people will probably repost it. That's as far as I thought ahead.
Right.
I said, we'll see. I mean, it's been shared thousands and thousands of times from people, just like you said, a lot of people I don't know. And to answer your question, last night, my sleeping schedule was totally fucked. So last night I was about to go to bed. It was like 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning, something like that. And saw a message in my requests, on Instagram, like people you don't follow, it like sends you one you have to like go find, kind of.
Right.
In my DMs, I looked at the request folder, and it was a person that I don't know. And I'm going to butcher I don't know what it says word for word, but in the grand scheme of things, it said, "Hey, I don't know you. You don't know me. This is very strange for me to write this, but I'm kind of looking up to you as like a fucking hero right now. It's crazy to see what you're doing." And he goes on from there. It's one of those things where I'm not tooting my own horn. I didn't ask for anything like that. It's me thinking of the 21-year-old version of me, like when you and I met when I was like 24 or something like that.
Right.
I had no savings. I had nothing. If I didn't tour, I literally couldn't pay my rent. And even when I could pay my rent from said tour that I did, I didn't have any money after that to buy like a full thing of groceries or anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not so much I'm doing this to like pay everybody's rent or something like that, because it's not feasible unless some major partner gets on board and like they really put in a donation or match what we have now or something.
Right.
Then we can do some real damage. But if I can help that kid who messaged me, whose name is on the list, by the way, I'm not going to say who it is, but he's on our list of people that are getting paid out. If we can help 100 or more, which we are, I think the number is, it's like right above 130 after we denied a couple people because they just didn't. I mean, we go in depth. We have to pay attention exactly who is applying
for
and
sure
what their real shit is.
Yeah.
But that kid's on the list. If I can help just like that dude who's in his early 20s, just starting to tour, like he told me, pay their like a little bit of their rent or pay their phone bill or literally get groceries for 2 or 3 weeks. It's like that. We just help somebody out.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what these people are going to do with the money. It's not my call. I could just hope that they're using it for good reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and that's huge, right? Because who else is really doing that? And just for you to put so much time and effort into something that is so selfless, again, is it's really it's it's impressive, and it's really, it's just admirable, man. It's admirable. Like shit like that like gives me chills,
Thank
because
you.
it's, yeah, it kind of goes into a little bit of what I get to do outside of music for a living, which again, it's help people. I've got that emphatic streak in me as well, um, and yeah, it's just awesome. Which is why as soon as I heard about it, I was like, okay, how do I get involved? How does the band get involved? And we are going to be making our donation pretty soon. So
Yeah.
we're yeah.
Thank you so much. We talked, and obviously prior to doing this, but
Yeah.
yeah, like you guys, you got on like got on board almost right away with the shirt idea. You guys made the shirt, and you're going to donate. I don't know what percentages off the top of my head, but you're going to donate percentage of those sales to us. We've gotten a lot of those, and it's fucking crazy to me that many partners and bands and companies got on board to do that exact same thing because everybody is screwed right now.
Yeah.
We haven't had, and I'm not gonna like, it's not a bashing situation. Nobody outside of the music industry has touched this yet. No one.
Yeah.
There's been very. I mean, I'm not talking with donations. Of course, people outside of the music industry have donated.
Yeah.
I'm saying like there's been no companies outside of the music industry or media outside of the music industry that has touched it yet. So everybody within what we do has put forth their effort to make this bigger than it already has been, and that's fucking awesome.
That's so awesome. So remind everyone again, you said you're at $36,000 right now.
We're literally, I think it's $100 shy of 36K at
Okay.
for the nomads.org. And I said that once we hit 40, for the pleasure of the viewer, whoever the viewers may be, I'm gonna shave my head into a double mohawk,
Okay. Sick.
and I'm gonna film it.
Okay, yeah, that would be awesome. You should do like a live stream of it and make it like a telethon style, just like watch donations come in as you do it, and
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to ideas for sure.
well, killer man. So I know before we got on, you were also talking about something else. Nick actually says $61 away. So if you're watching, if you're listening, there's $61. If you can make that happen on this stream, I will give some abiotic shirts away. So I've got some here. If you make a donation, let's say if you make more than a $20 donation, I will send you an abiotic shirt myself.
Oh,
So
hell
yeah,
yeah!
so if we can get three of those, three $20 donations, I'll send out three shirts. So let's
And
let's
then Nick told me separately, while you were saying what you were saying. He said when he comes on, he's going to show his nutsack. If you give if you give a $20, you know what? He said actually no, never mind. I'm a whore. I'll do it for $5.
He said he was going to pay me to let him show his nutsack on the TV. So and Nick Nick said times are tough. Great. So you also said that before we got on that you had something else kind of in the works. Do you want to kind of divulge some info on that, or you want to still keep that under wraps a little bit?
I'm gonna keep it mostly under wraps, but we're and this goes for you. This goes for any of your band members, anybody that you're close with. We're preparing right now a silent auction for a lot of different exclusive items from a lot of different bands and artists.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you who yet because we're still working on it. I really started to dive into it today. My partner as well. Um, we're really diving into it deep. But it's exclusive items that you can't buy anywhere. It's just coming straight from the artists themselves. And we're gonna try to make it into one of those fucking ridiculous like influencer challenges that everybody does.
Okay.
And the reason why it's because that shit works, man. It really works. It's a matter of just getting more people on. If you can't donate, that's not a big deal. Like I know the situation. Everybody understands what everybody's going through right now.
Of
If
course.
you can't donate, it's a matter of spreading the word to new people who don't know what it is yet. That's the purpose of everything that we're trying to do. So with the silent auction, if so and so, if John from Abiotic hypothetically challenged his buddies in you said Nick from Suffocation, if you challenge your buddies in Suffocation to put something of theirs up, that's how it works. You know what I mean? So if you know anybody who gets involved, or you know anybody who's listening, if you know anybody who wants to get involved in that kind of thing, if you know anybody who get involved with that kind of thing, please hit me up and we'll work from there. But we have a pretty interesting list so far, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I got a little sneak peek on that list, and I'm super fucking stoked. And obviously, we'll link up after this, so I can, we can do our part in helping out with that too.
Oh,
Um,
somebody just donated. I can see it on my phone.
oh yeah, what do we got? How much?
It was I can't see it because I'm watching the stream and doing the stream all at the same time. Oh, Colin,
Oh,
thank you.
Colin Clender. Hopefully, I pronounced your name right, bud. Just donated $25. Fuck yeah, Colin. Thank you so much, man. So, Colin, I will be reaching out to you to get a T-shirt out to you, bud.
Colin, that's really cool of you. I appreciate it. And Nick is going to show you his nutsack as soon as I'm off.
Nick is gonna give you his OnlyFans. Awesome, man. So how did you get into the touring game? Obviously, like you mentioned before, you started in music. So what was that like for you starting in music, and then how did you transition into doing the crew stuff? I know it was after the world we knew. So was that like right away, or was it kind of, did you take some time off and then had to really think, do I want to do this, or?
So, excuse me, for 9 years, I did the world we knew full time for 7 years, but we were together for 9 years from 2004 to 2013 as a band who really went for it. We toured all over the world. We did 3 records on 3 different labels. We really did it. Or at least really tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got as far as we could without it really crushing us, like as people trying to grow into adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Towards the end, I was starting to work for other bands as a crew member. Like we took the Browning on tour sometime towards the end, and those guys always hit me up. It was like, hey, we want to take you out, do merch and do lights and tour managers and stuff. And this is really early on, so
Nice.
I was still just kind of learning, and I kept on getting offers like that. So I took them in between our tours because I knew we were slowing down. And it was a matter of, do we write a 4th record, or do we just suck it up and call it a day kind of situation?
Right.
So right before we announced our last tour, I get a phone call from a booking agent friend of mine who goes, yo, I just landed my big artist for me. And I said, okay, what do you want from me? I don't book tours anymore. Because at that time I was booking tours.
Yeah.
But I was like, what do you want from me? And he's like, I need somebody to tour manage it. And I was like, all right. I was like, who is it? And he's like, Bam Margera from Jackass.
Fuck.
And I said, okay. I was like, all right. I mean, what am I supposed to say no? And
yeah, right.
he's like, or I was like, well, what does it pay? Not that I gave a shit because I had no money anyway, but I was like, what does it pay? And he gave me a number that it's pretty funny to think it still almost rivals what I make now.
Wow.
As somebody who's been touring for a really way longer than I was back at that time, you know what I mean? And I was just like, yep. There's nothing that can talk me out of this right now. It doesn't make sense not to do it, especially because I didn't have a savings. I had nothing. I just had an apartment and a way to figure out how to make money.
Yep.
So we announced our last show. Literally, it was the day before I was leaving for that tour. So the Lord, when you did our very last show, and then I literally went to I think it was my drummer's house at the time. I went to my drummer's house
Yep.
because he lived in the city, stayed on his couch, and hit like the earliest flight the next morning. Flew to Canada to start the very first day of the BAM tour. So not only
Damn.
did I play my very last show, the next day, within 24 hours, I essentially got a paycheck that is bigger than anything I've ever made at that time,
Yeah.
and then went on my very first bus tour, all in just
Wow.
24 hours after the band broke up.
Dude, that's insane. That
Yeah.
I was thinking like there was some time off and like all kinds of shit, but you just like fucking literally feet head first, whatever it is, you just like were in it, dude.
I remember on stage during the last show, I don't know what I said exactly, but I said, "This is it, but I leave for tour tomorrow." Yeah.
Holy shit! And then from then, was it just like 100? You kind of just kept getting tours and kept getting tours, or did you take a break at all during that time, or?
The way I work, and it's kind of showing right now to anybody who's actually paying attention to what we're doing with the Nomad fundraiser.
Yeah.
For the nomads.org, rather. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. Everything that I put even like a little bit of effort into, I take it like 0 to 60.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like, thank you, Travis, your buddy right now, killing it. You just no, not in the comments, in the donations. I don't know
I
what
made a
it is.
donation.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure Nick's gonna look at it right now.
Okay, sick. Yeah, Nick, give us a little update there.
Where was I? Oh yeah, I literally everything that I do, that I give a shit about, like the clothing company, the band originally. I don't even know what else, but especially this now. There's no reason for me not to give my all with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So when I took that BAM tour, I was like, this is going to look really good on my resume, because right now he's a big celebrity. Everybody knows his name.
Yeah.
But back that's what, 8 years ago now, 7 years ago. He was bigger then, just because that's closer to the time where he was like a big deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. I mean, the second I got that on my resume, I just pitched it around everywhere, and I haven't stopped. It's been 7 years, and it's all I do is tour. It's all I've ever really done for the majority of it's half of my life now. That's,
like I said before, super impressive, dude. So I got to ask before we get off of the first tour topic, what was it like in a bus with those guys with the BAM? And like, obviously, for people like me growing up watching Jackass and like all that shit, was it just like absolute insanity constantly, or were those guys like more laid back than you figured?
It's exactly what you would expect.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's exactly what you would expect, and maybe even more, to be honest with you.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was challenging at times, because I don't drink or smoke or party or anything.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, it made me a more patient person. And that goes for like,
dealing with a bunch of drunk assholes, basically.
I mean, they're all, and I don't mean this in a negative way when I say those things.
Yeah.
They are super rad dudes. Bam's a great dude. Jess is a great dude. The whole band, for the most part, were a bunch of great dudes.
Yeah.
It ruled, but it made me a better tour manager. Or I didn't even know what I can't even say I knew what I was doing at that time. Like, right. I just kind of I faked it until I made it, kind of.
Oh
thing.
Yeah, I know that.
They were so shithoused most of the time that it didn't even matter. You know?
Yeah.
So, but it made me a more patient person in general, and made it better for my career in the long run, because now when things happen, it's not that big a deal compared to what I've already dealt with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. It was a good starting point for you.
Something that really, like, royally fucked up has to happen for me to even be like, get a heart rate pump. Like, it's not
nice.
Like,
yeah.
not
You're
like a big deal anymore.
This isn't the BAM tour. This is, it's not that bad. Nice. So getting into like I guess a little sensitive topic. So, which I'd really been wanting to get into with a lot of my touring buddies, actually. going through all this Corona stuff. So do you find yourself, since you've been at it for so long, kind of constantly, are you one of those guys that might like get that like post like tour depression kind of thing?
150%.
Yeah.
If I don't have something to do or keep me occupied, it takes me a total of 72 hours to get really fidgety and bored and awkward at home.
Right.
I don't like it, and it's something I'm gonna have to figure out how to get out of over time. But with the fundraiser and for the Nomads, I haven't felt that since I've been home. There's moments and there's days where I'll just literally sit in my bed and I'll just be miserable, but then something happens, or I'll see a donation on my phone, like pop up thing or anything like that, like somebody retweet something.
Yeah.
It brings me back, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is why I'm here again. This is why I'm doing this. But yeah, it's a very, very strange time. I don't know how to explain it, and because there's no answers to it.
Right.
So it's like I don't know when I'm working again, and do I potentially try to learn, or I should learn anything anyway because I have the time to do so. You should be learning new things all the time, as a human being in general. But do I try to take up a new trade or something and literally throw like my whole career of the past 14 years out the window to maybe do something that I fucking hate for the remainder of God knows how long, because we don't know exactly like what we're doing, like for how much time we're doing it for. I just don't know.
Yeah, man, oh shit. Hold on. So, on that note, we've got some good news. I know we're about to get real dark, but Nick is letting us know we just hit $36,000 on For the Nomads. So fuck yeah. I wish I had some like, I don't know, some celebration music to play right now. I'm going to get one of those cool little soundboard things that they use like at the radio stations with.
I have hang on. I have a little bit of paper.
Hey, confetti! Oh.
Ready?
Do it. Oh, fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Just made it rain on yourself. Nice. So for everybody listening, watching, who just donated and, helped cross that $3,600 threshold, thank you so much.
3,600.
36,000. 36,000. Sorry, they did 3,600 in the first like 17 seconds. So $36,000, shooting for 40, and Frank is gonna fucking do a double mohawk and show you his butthole on live.
That's a tall order. That's at 100,000.
100,000. Sorry. So, but we're getting there. We're getting there. But yeah, I mean, just to get back to what we were talking about. So that was something that I experienced too. I didn't do it for as long as you did. But we were on and off either tour or in the studio for the better part of 5 years straight, like doing 200 plus shows a year.
Yeah.
And I'd get home and like, yeah, you and I are really similar in a lot of aspects now, just listening, where to distract myself, I fucking just like put as much on my plate as I possibly can. Otherwise, I'm like a mess. I need to, just like you were saying, I need to throw 100% of me into whatever I'm doing. And it just so happens that I do 4 or 5 different things at the same time and try my hardest to give all of those things 100%. But yeah, that's how I deal with stress. And just after the band broke up and we stopped doing the touring thing, I honestly, I started getting anxiety. I wasn't used to just being home all the time, and complacency in general was just a scary thing for me. So learning how to balance that over the years, that the couple of years that we were just off and I was just kind of getting my shit together, was one of the bigger challenges. And I don't think that a lot of people really think about that. They think what we were doing in the band or even as a crew member, it's just there's that whole thing where you're on the road and you're dying to get back home, and then you're home and you're dying to get back on the road. But it's still fucking weird to be home and getting into just like a mundane routine when you're so used to just being somewhere new every day and seeing different faces, seeing different people, just constantly moving. When you're just like, when the brakes hit, you're just like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah. I I hope that anybody who pays attention to what I do nowadays, especially because of the fundraiser or anything, I hope they see that there's almost anything that's obtainable in this life in general.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of starting to learn it about myself in general that the more I put forth my effort into whatever it is I pay attention to and want to do with my career, it kind of works out. I've failed many, many, many times over my life and over my career, but the ones that have been consistent in my life and my career have always been there, and I've always been able to go back to them if I even put them on pause for a little while or whatever. It's always kind of worked out. The band didn't go for the long haul, like the long haul, but I did that shit for 9 years, way more and bigger than, let's just say, like 90% of the bands ever on the planet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like we weren't the biggest band ever. It just happened to work because we put forth that much effort to where we did it for 9 years on 3 different labels, 3 different records. God knows how many booking agents and managers. Like, we really did. You know what I mean? So I don't look at that as a fail, even though we broke up. It didn't get to a big level. It just didn't work to the extreme. With the clothing company, I've been doing that for 8 years or 7 years. It doesn't matter. But we're not in big box retailers or anything like that. But we've been doing it steady for 7 full years. There's no fail in that yet. We've failed in little parts along the way and made bad decisions and whatnot.
Right.
Same thing with the fundraiser. We're just scratching the surface. We barely thought we'd hit 10,000. We thought that wasn't a possibility, and here we are. I hope that somebody can just be like, I could fucking do it. Whatever it may be, you can fucking do it. You just have to be consistent. You can't just do it for a week and hope it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
You have to really put in some major effort to do whatever it is that you want to do. If I just did the BAM tour and assumed I was going to get tours thrown at me left and right afterwards, I would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
I emailed and called. It's absurd. It's actually absurd how many emails I send out looking for work, especially early on in my career, like around that time frame in the 2013, 2014 time frame. It's absurd how many people I've probably annoyed and how many managers probably hate me or just are annoyed every time they see my email come through. Like, just because I wanted it to work. And I sent you a list of people that I've worked for since 2013.
Yep.
That's just a list of just from that time frame. Nothing even before that is on that list. It's just consistency and the want to do something that I wanted to do. I've never stopped that. And I hope anybody who's listening now or in the future or anything that sees what we're doing with this, my partner and I with Nomads, is anything's obtainable. You just have to actually want it.
Yeah, I wholeheartely agree. And from the band thing, you know, that's where my mindset was as well, because, you know, coming from Miami, there wasn't like a whole lot of bands getting signed and touring and like modern death metal bands doing it out of there. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking write down short-term goals that I feel like we need to accomplish to get us where we want to go, and we're gonna knock out these small goals to get to this big goal and do it however we can and hit it hard as possible every single day. So same thing, I'm sure there are A&R guys that are sick of hearing from me, and there are bands that are sick of hearing from me like, hey, let's fucking do a tour and like all this shit. But obviously there's a nuance to it, but I couldn't agree with you more. It's really just about hitting it and being consistent and just doing it, just like taking those what you were saying, failures, and really learning what you can from those opportunities and making the change going forward. And, well, what can I change from that last interaction, from that last tour, from that last record, and what can we do better on the next one?
Yeah, exactly.
And rolling with the punches. So you gave some pretty broad, some good like broad tips getting into the game. So what are some tips, some other tips you can give folks that are thinking about obviously post Corona getting into doing the damn thing on the crew side?
Oh, that's tough because we don't know what we're in for.
Yeah,
I am unfortunately very prepared to hear that my rate has been cut substantially.
right. Yeah,
I am not hoping for that, but I'm prepared for it.
yeah, because bands are gonna have to take a guarantee cut probably
Well,
for who knows how long. So that's I
people
didn't even
are
think about that. That's gonna trickle.
yes, people are absolutely going to get cut from tours in general, like
Yeah,
as a whole.
yeah,
People are going to be working with less crew members, and if they have a full crew, it's because people took major cuts. Um, because all of the budgets are going to be different compared to whatever you signed up for prior to this happening. So I'm not going to say you should be going into this hoping or like agreeing to doing like whatever tour for really cheap or anything like that. Kind of shit sucks. But if you're just trying to get the foot in the door, I mean, you're going to have to really eat shit and work for it, especially
yeah,
after all this goes away. Because there's going to be a lot of competition for bands in general trying to just get into the doors, and the bigger tours are going to prevail first.
yeah,
It's true. The people that are the tours that are going to actually bring people in are going to be the ones that are prevailing first, in my opinion. I could be completely wrong. This is not a fact. I'm not a fucking scientist or an analytic strategist or anything like that. You
yeah,
know, this is just my guess, but promoters are going to be offering way less money because they don't know who's going to want to come out
yeah,
because they're scared or whatever. And if they're doing that, everything's going to have to be maybe 6 feet apart or who knows, even like that fucking matters. Everybody's in one
yeah,
room. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
yeah,
Um, but it's going to be a problem. It's going to go from the promoters offering less money to the bands offering less money to the crew, the agents getting less money from the guarantees because and the managers too. They're all getting percentages. Everybody's getting less.
yeah.
So if you're going to be new to doing this the after the corona, I guess I don't know. Who knows if it ever goes away? I'd say just hunker down, man, because it's not going to be fun. If it's going to be challenging for people like me and then Nick, who's coming on right after me, and we've been doing this for as long as we've had, it's going to be really challenging for people who doesn't have a resume underneath their like in their books already.
Yeah, yeah, I think you make some great points there. And I think the bands are going to be looking out for the guys they're used to going out with and taking care of those few that have really killed it. Um, there's like a couple things. So I was thinking, like, it could be a possibility that there's a cut, right? But I think if there's a balance of taking less people out, you can kind of supplement. Hopefully, that's just like where my like staffing manager mind goes. Like if I can have less people on, then I can potentially pay people what I roughly
Yeah.
normally if there's that little bit less of cost. So hopefully that's the case. But I think you're making a great point in what bands are going to come back as well. I think it's just tough. It's tough all around because there's so many variables. Who knows if certain crew guys are going to want to go out just for, for abundance of caution's sake. If they're going to say, no, I'm going to watch a few tours go on and then I'm going to think about getting back in the game. So maybe there is going to be opportunity for those first few guys that are just ready to do it. So it's a little everywhere.
I've set myself up to where I know a bunch of different things. I know how to do a bunch of things. Wow, I can't speak. I know how to do a bunch of different things on the road to where I try to make myself more valuable to the people who are hiring me.
Yeah.
When I was with Amur, I was with Amur for 4 years, and while I was with them, I did 4 different jobs.
Wow.
Every tour I did with them, I did 4 jobs, no questions asked. But that's a band that I've known. Like I've known their singer since I was since the World Where You started in like 2004.
Yep.
We've known each other for a really long time. So I went into it being like, listen, you're going to get me at my best and do a lot of things for you, but you're not getting a full-on tour manager who like does every single microscopic thing a tour manager would do for an artist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because not only am I acting as your tour manager, and I'm doing the schedules, and I'm doing the payroll, and I'm doing the payouts and the buyouts and the per diems and the you name it, everything a tour manager does.
Yep.
Not only am I doing that, settling the shows, etc. I'm doing merchandise. I'm doing the VIP, setting up every single VIP package, and then also doing the lights and setting up the lighting rigs.
Holy shit, dude.
It's just a matter of, that's another, going back to what you said before, if I had any advice, learn a little bit of everything. You don't have to necessarily be the utmost best pro dude at every single thing that you do, but if you know how to get around, like not get around like in a cheap way, but if you know your way around every little situation that a tour can offer you, you're going to be more valuable to said band.
Yeah, great advice. I mean, all the tours I've been on, the TM is doubling as at least one other thing at front of house or merch or something like that. So that's something that I noticed right away. I was like, okay, these guys are doing what they can to make sure that they're valuable, and then at the same time, it does save bands a little bit of money too. So leave some space in the van or the bus depending on how you're traveling and shit. So that's some great advice. So crossing over into like the hip hop world, so you do merch for JID, which, so I just do want to say that like JID is probably my favorite rapper right now, and then also you did merch for my favorite band Symphony X too, so you're just like hitting fucking all the bases there, dude. But what's it like? How does it differ, would you say, between the music genres, if it does?
In the merch world, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just doing merch for JID, and I did Earth Gang this past year as well.
Sick.
It's not too different. The culture, the culture seems to be younger, which I've noticed. Seems to be very, very much younger, but not too much else is different. I mean, business is the same. I'm selling a lot of shit. That's all it is. They're cool guys. There's, sometimes it's a little rowdy, but every tour is somehow a little rowdy. It's not. Yeah. There's not too much difference. When you and I saw each other last, you saw me. Well, I don't know what city it was that you came to see me in. I forget, but
Boston.
In Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was a big tour. I mean, it was an arena tour.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Fucking sick.
I don't do arena tours. Well, you know what's funny? We were doing a lot of arenas, smaller arenas on the Blackville tour that just got canceled. But that was one of my first arena tours. That was really cool. I've done Disney on Ice too, which was all arenas. But this was me doing merchandise by myself for an artist on arena tour, and it just so happened to be a rapper. So I'm learning in that realm. I don't know enough heavy hitters in that world to like pull super strings or anything like that, but the people that I've made ties with JID's managers and his inner circle at Dreamville, I have some people that can go to bat for me for some certain things, and that's just from being good at my job and having an open mind about the situation. 10 years ago, I would have never been like, I would never do a rap tour. Like, what the fuck do I care about rap? But
right.
It makes all the sense when you want to grow yourself as somebody who's able to do a little bit of everything. To have that many different kind of things on your resume, just like you said, one of your favorite bands is Symphony X. I've worked for them. Put JID right next to that, JID right next to that. Those couldn't be any more different.
Yeah, no, totally.
And then I'll throw one more in there for you. A band like Hatebreed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've toured with Hatebreed too. Those are three very different things, and I've done them all. So just open your mind to new things and try new things. It's my best advice.
Well, that's fucking awesome, dude. I truly hope that this Corona shit is over and we're back to some kind of semblance of normal soon as possible, so you can get back out there and do what you love and do what you're fucking obviously super amazing at. So before we wrap, anything you want to plug, again, as far as for the Nomads, obviously, again, we hit $36,000 on this
Yeah,
stream
that's
during this podcast. So
super
you guys
impressive.
are fucking awesome.
Thank you, Nick.
This was the goal. So again, the For the Nomads special on episode 10. So what else you got for us before we
Yeah,
wrap
so
up?
I know I'm not giving away too many details, but we're going to do that silent auction soon. So if anybody's watching and just wants to keep in touch and play along when the time is ready, uh, we're going to do a silent auction soon with a lot of different bands and artists across a bunch of different genres. So if you work for an artist that maybe wants to get involved, we have a bunch of small, very, very easy guidelines to get involved with this. So please email me. You can find all the contact information and the donation center and the store and the partner section, all that fun stuff at forthenomads.org. Abiotic is doing a shirt that's on there. If you buy one of those, they'll be donating certain proceeds to that for us. There's many of those on the site in the partner section, and several different bands. I know Necrogoblicon is doing a shirt
Nice.
for us. I think they sold out of it twice now because, god damn it, that goblin, the little goblin bastard,
Dude,
he's too funny. You know what I mean?
he's
I guess,
too funny, man. If that band is not like, aside from having like sick music, obviously, if they're not like the marketing masters, like I don't fucking know.
yeah, they got their shit together, but they're doing one, and there's literally there's 15 or 20 of them on there, so you can find something you like. If you don't want to just straight up donate, you can get something for your donation as well, just by buying something. Or if you want to buy one of our shirts, the Merch Daddy shirts, we have 4 different designs on there right now, and I haven't even announced 2 of them to like the public. They're just up there because
sick.
we're kind of still working on it
Yeah.
with our printer. But you can buy them; they are real. They're available for pre-order right now. But I didn't even start promoting them yet. But they're up there.
Yeah.
And I cannot stress enough. I'm not a fucking influencer. I don't have a lot of followers anymore. I'm not a cool band dude like I used to be 10 years ago. None of that is real. It's all a fabrication. Numbers on Instagram and Facebook and all that. None of that fucking matters.
Yeah.
I just had a good idea and I worked with it and other people got on board. It's super easy to use this on your platform to spread the word around. And you never know who's watching. You don't know who will also spread the word or who will donate. So
Yeah.
posting that link, the forthenomads.org link, on your socials, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, or all 3, could really do a big deal, even if you can't donate. So all I ask is just please use your platform if you want to use it for us. And if you don't want to use it for us, use it for anything that you care about. If you love Abiotic, just spread the word about the band.
Yeah,
you love
do
that
that.
band, you want them to survive, just use your platform in any way, shape, or form. If it's for us, that's incredible. If it's not for us, that's fine too. You're still using your accessibility to the world in your hands, and it costs $0. That's my biggest takeaway from this, is that I just had an idea that happened to work, but it wasn't by myself. It was because other people also thought it was a really cool idea, and they
Yeah.
shared it, spread the word about it. It's a team effort. This whole thing is a team effort. We're paying out around, I don't know, it's 150 different touring crew members around the world, and that's just for round 1. That's another thing. Round 2 just opened. The round 2 applications just opened. If you're a touring crew member watching this, or you know somebody who's a touring crew member who lost their jobs and tours, hit us up. That goes for everybody who's listening right now in this thing. I'm looking at 2 separate entities right now. Hit us up, forthenomads.org. We will help you. I can't say it's going to pay your full fucking rent or anything, but we're going to put a dent in whatever bills that you may have. And it's all because you guys are helping spread the word about it. So I'm not going to ramble anymore. You have another one to do right here, forthenomads.org or forthenomads on Instagram. I'm Frank T. WWK on Instagram. You're going to get the same knowledge on either way. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks again so much, Frank. Dude, it was awesome getting to catch up and just, again, hearing how passionate you are about literally everything that you do in your life. So thanks for being, again, an example for all the dudes really trying to get in and do this. And we will talk soon, my brother.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, man. All right, awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys, for sticking around for our first interview with, again, Frank Fanelli. Again, this is the For the Nomads special episode 10 of the Big Shred podcast. So our second guest, again, is Nick Marrero. He is tour manager and has done tour managing work and merch work for Suffocation, The Absence, Internal Bleeding, The Black Dahlia Murder, Belphegor, Morbid Angel, Surreption, Cattle Decap, ton of great bands. So we're going to go ahead and bring Nick on, and hopefully he's unmuted because I muted him. What's up, Nick? No, you're on mute. Remember, I muted you, dog. There you go. I think you're still muted, fam.
How about now?
There you go.
Why was it muted on my side? I didn't touch it.
I did.
You fucking reached in?
I did. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Good to see you, bud.
You too, man. You too.
Thanks for having me on here. This is cool.
Yeah, and thanks for hanging in the chat and keeping us updated with those numbers. So we hit that goal. That was sick.
Yeah, man. It's exciting, man. It's cool to be a part of it. I'm stoked that Frank was here, honestly.
Yeah. You guys go back, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, I think. We did, he's showing me his nip. Sexy. I actually used to look up to Frank, believe it or not. And when I told him this, my first tour with him, I told him this, and he was like, "Get away from me." And man, I was a big World We Knew fan, and
no shit.
That skate park show in Tampa, that last World We Knew tour with Aviotic, my band opened that show, and I was so stoked to play with them.
Dude, no way.
And it was a fucking fun show. And then that was the night where I finally met him in person, and I was.
That was at Transitions?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. That's crazy.
And, it was a good one, but he just got off stage, and he was just kind of like.
He cool guy.
Yeah, cool, nice to meet you. Thanks, buy a shirt, I was just like, yeah, totally.
Of course, he was trying to push some merch. He was just like, hey, buy this.
And then a few years later, let's see. I don't remember what year that was, but I was with this band called King Parrot. I was doing merch and dropping for him. Was it 2016? Was it? Yeah, Voivod. He was TMing Voivod. When I got all the information for the tour, his name was the TM's name. I was like, wait, what? Fucking Frank Fanelli, the man?
The myth, the legend?
Frank. So I was exciting, and no, we had a good time. That was a fun tour. It was a little weird one actually, but it turned out to be pretty fucking cool. So that was my first experience with Frank, and he was an absolute legend, man. Took care of us, and was a killer TM. And moving forward for me, I feel like I learned a lot from Frank from afar. So I appreciate everything that you've done for this fucking whole genre, I guess, know, in the sense of, the touring world and crew world. Yeah. So, I mean, humble dude, but you're a fucking legend, Frank. So thanks for everything, man. Appreciate it.
That's killer. It just goes to show how small this circle is.
It is. It's so big. Yeah, it's so small.
Yeah. But it's literally anytime I talk to a crew guy or whatever, it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, and we did this, and oh yeah, I know that guy. I saw him in my fucking band, and whatever, and it's cool. Like you said, it's so big, but it's still everybody for the most part. It still feels like a family, which is rad.
It is, man, and when it comes down to it, in the metal world and just I think just rock industry, I guess. Everyone generally just kind of comes together when you need to, and I think that says a lot about this style of music and group of people in general, our mindsets and attitudes, and I think it's great, man. I wouldn't want to work in any other situation or genre or job in general. Yeah. So I'm glad to be here, and hopefully we're rolling soon, man. Because I feel you, Frank. I'm getting cabin fever, dog. So
yeah. I know the feeling. So yeah, hopefully shit does get back and going, man. But so obviously then we met fucking like whatever 8 years ago unofficially, but we officially met like on the Suffolk tour. Um,
Yeah. I gave you a lot of shit because, man, we played quite a few shows together back in the day, and you were always kind of a dick back then.
really? No,
Yeah.
was I?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I didn't give you a real tour pass till the last day.
Well, then I deserved it. I'm sorry.
We all grow. It's cool. It's cool.
Oh man, well I was
I had a
thinking I
fun
was.
time with you, John. You were a good sport, man. You guys were a blast to be with on that last tour. So
Well, thanks, man. So for everybody that doesn't know, when you're on a tour and you're a support band, it's like the TM's job. Like it's one of those things on the list to like give shit to the bands under you in the package. So the last tour that we did, I got into the tour halfway in. So I did the last 2 weeks. So basically, the hazing had like kind of tapered off for us, but not for me. So
Travis was glad that you showed up so that he could take a back seat.
yeah, he lucked out. So you know what? But I was the hero that the band needed. So I'm okay with it. I'll take the heat. No, man, but it was likewise, dude. It was fucking awesome touring with you, and similarly to like what you were saying with Frank, you took care of us. You made shit run smoothly, so it's always appreciated. And you've definitely you got it down. You got it down. So I hope we can do some more in the future. So
Me too.
yeah, so how did you get into the touring? So you were in a band. Did you do some touring with your band before you did the crew thing?
Oh man. So my band, well, I was in a band, right? We played a lot of shows with some bigger bands in the area, Tampa based, and then we played a lot of shows with the Absence. And when they got picked up by Metal Blade, and they started touring, I think maybe their second or third tour, or something like that. We were just playing a show one time, and Jeremy, the drummer for the Absence, he asked me. He was like, "Yo, man, you should come on the road with us, do merch, and help drive and whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, fuck yeah, like let's go." And they got offered this tour, my first tour ever. It was in 2007. My first tour.
Damn.
And it was the Metal Blade 25th anniversary tour. It was Cannibal Corpse headlining.
Dude,
Hit the Black Dahlia Murder
fuck.
on the Nocturnal record that came out,
Wow.
and the Red Chord, Goat Whore, and the Absence. Dude, it was like super fucking stacked. It was like every metalhead's dream at that point, and I was just like, holy fuck, like that's crazy. Like, hope I can do
Wow.
that, whatever. I get a call out of the blue. Jeremy's like, "Yo, man, you still want to do that tour?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude. When are you guys leaving? Like, when is it? What are we doing?" And he's like, "You got an hour. Pack a bag." And I was like,
Whoa.
"What?" It's like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Fuck, And I just kind of talked to everyone, and I was like, And my girlfriend at the time was like, "Well, do what you gotta do, whatever." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay." I talked to my mom. My mom was like, "Fucking go." I called my boss, and even my boss, she was awesome. She was super supportive too. She would let me leave for tours and come back, and I'd still have a job.
Dope.
And
That's clutch.
she was great. But my mom too, would help pay bills, and when I needed help and all of that, so I packed a fucking bag and fucking got dropped off at the van, So
Dude, shout out Nick's mom.
Yeah, Mama Dukes. She's
Mama
the best,
Dukes.
man. She's it's funny. Like, I'll be on tour. I'll be on tour. I was out with Suffocation, and she made a bunch of food, and went out to that I think it was Black Dahlia Whitechapel tour. It went through like Janice or something. She made a bunch of food, took it out to the Dahlia boys, and I was out on another tour, and Charlie, I think it was, someone in Suffolk, they were like looking through Instagram, they come across like Corpse Grinders, like Instagram, and there's my mom like hanging out with Corpse Grinder and Dahlia. Like,
Dude.
eating food, and I'm like, what?
That's
I'm
so
like,
sick.
Mom, dude's partying with fucking Corpse Grinder.
Your mom sounds
So-
cooler than you, dude.
Yeah, dude, she is totally. So she's awesome, but yeah, like that's kind of how I started, and like I was originally actually supposed to only do the first 2 weeks of that tour,
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, I can come, and they were like, oh well, you gotta like fly back right before Canada. We don't have paperwork, yada yada yada. I was like, oh okay, like whatever. And at that time, we didn't need a passport to get into Canada,
Oh
so
shit.
we found out from the booking agent because we got to like, we were in California, and I actually happened to I was like in it. I was like, hell yeah. Like I was getting into it. I just was rolling with it. I was
Yeah.
excited. So, and also Black Dahlia still had Kareem with them at the time.
Okay.
Like that was like Kareem's he's the man too, man. Like I learned a lot from him. A
He
lot from
started
Kareem.
or was like he did indie merch and now he's doing like night shift, right? Is that Kareem?
Yeah. Same
Okay.
one. And he was working with indie merch for a long time, and
Yeah.
now he started night shift. Is just crushing it over there,
Yeah.
man. So hell yeah. But yeah, I learned a lot, and I was crushing it for the Absence. Like they'd never made that much in merch. It was a big tour for them.
Yeah.
But usually the openers don't make, they don't crush in merch. They do okay.
Yeah.
In hopes, but to make anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a night for an opener in merch,
That's huge.
they were just like, fuck, you can't leave. Like, so I was like, hell yeah, and I was working for free. I was just going to help and learn and experience it. So,
Damn.
I put out the whole tip jar thing, and I was crushing it in tips. So I was like, okay,
Hell yeah,
this
dude.
is cool. I'm fucking making more in tip money than I was at home working in the fucking bakery at, the grocery store,
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I don't want to leave. This is cool. I'm learning a lot. Like, this is stuff that I can bring back and hopefully, use with my band and, succeed in that way.
Right.
So I stuck around, and it was a 46-day tour, your first
Holy
tour,
shit.
going out, no fucking clue what you're walking into, and just crushing it. And, I just realized, hey, man, like, this is for me. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to travel. I want to fucking, this is an area where I can flourish. And I was
Right.
having fun doing it. And, about 2 weeks in, they were like, dude, you can't leave. Like, figure it out. Like, we'll call the agent, this, that, and the other. And the agent was like, yeah, he's fine. He can go with you. Like, whatever.
Nope.
And I was like, cool, let's go. I called my mom. I was like, hey, I ain't coming home. Like, I canceled my flight. Now, I was kind of bummed that I wasted, $200 on a flight. But I was like, fuck it.
Make
Here
that
we
back
go.
in a couple
And,
days in tips.
Yeah, dude, it was a good time. And, dude, towards the end of the tour, by the end of the tour, I was like basically tour managing and driving, and I learned a lot with the guys in the Absence. And Jeremy was like, he's always been kind of like a big brother to me, and taught me a lot. I learned a lot on that tour, man. It was like mental overload with the amount of like people and bands and just press every day for these guys. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like helping set everything up and just I just kind of took charge. And they were like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, you're doing it. So I think that was kind of like my first taste of tour managing. And then it just kind of flourished from there. I did the next tour. I went out with them with Amon Amarth. And
Wow.
we did Amon Amarth, Insufferum, Belphegor, and The Absence. And another Crusher tour, and it was sick. And I learned a lot more. And
Nice.
then when I came home, I was doing it with my own band. Actually, no. I take that back. So when I got back, my band actually, like, while I was gone, the band that I was with at the time, like, they didn't do shit while I was gone. So it's like, okay. So that just kind of crumbled, which was a shame because we were really good. And at the time, we gotten while I was out on that tour, I got an offer from like a smaller label, and it was like
Yeah.
a good smaller label, like one of those building block labels that you've seen a lot of these bands come out on.
Right.
And when I got back, I realized what touring was, and it like crushed me because I realized that like I can't tour with these guys, like they're not capable, really. So I just kind of let it go. It's true. Like, you know what I'm talking about, Frank. I see you on
There,
camera.
there are some people
You
that are like
know,
made
there are
for
some
it.
people you just cannot live in a fucking 15 passenger van with. Like,
Yep.
it's not gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
And some tours, a week into tour, you realize this guy,
This guy
he's gone when we
sucks.
get back. When we get back, this guy's out.
Yep.
And that was a lot of the future for me because I joined a band from the Embrace in the early stages, and I kind of helped. I was older than the guys, and had a little more experience and know-how, and we just kind of jumped the gun, and we went in the studio. We recorded an EP. We started touring on our own because at that point I had learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I said, "Fuck it! Like, I'm gonna book my own tour. I'm gonna book it. We're just gonna do it. We're gonna go." And we did it, man. It was. I would say that we were successful in DIY touring. Like, we came home with money.
Nice.
We sold killer merch. Like, that was the game. Like, the merch game was your fucking moneymaker.
Yep.
Like the $150, $200 from the door every night was not like, which, albeit fucking killer for a DIY band. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like, cool, we got $100 our first tour, like a night. Like, you know, we were able to buy a hotel. We were touring in like a Ford Explorer, like a '96 Ford Explorer with a
Oh my
fucking.
God.
It wasn't even a U-Haul trailer because they wouldn't let us rent it with that car, so we rented it
Yeah.
from some other like shit company, and you know, we were doing well. So, but it gets to a point like down the road that, like I said, you know, it's hard to find members. It's hard to find 5 people. It's hard to find 4 people with the same mindset, let alone 5. You know, and you know, to have that same goal, same drive, same mentality of what touring is, and
Yep.
you know, I had like a head start, and we did great for the time. But you know, like Frank said earlier, like it's not. You get to the point where you realize, what are we doing this for? Like, are we gaining anything anymore? Like, is it
Right.
is it worth putting myself in the hole every time just to keep going? Because essentially that's what it came to. Like, yeah, we made money and I paid my guys out, so everyone was happy and everyone would be like, okay, cool, okay. But then every time I would forget, like, wait, I fronted the thousands of dollars for merch. Like, I fronted the van tires. I fronted all this repair work. Like, yeah, you know, there's always that 1 or 2 guys in the band that fucking do everything. And then there's always someone in the band that is just kind of like, they expect it, or they're, you know, their heart's not there, man. Like, their mind is there sometimes, but their heart isn't there all the way. So it's just kind of, the ball fumbles, man. And sometimes you have to put that aside and put it away, like we've done recently. And over the last couple of years, I mean, we didn't do much. We released an EP. Like, our last show was killer. Like, we released an EP. We did a release show. It was killer. We did a release show in Puerto Rico. It was killer.
No shit.
And then we played, I think it was like Children of Bodom, Havoc, and Us. Like, we opened for that.
Whoa.
And then that's when it just kind of like came to a halt. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep touring. I'm going to progress in my career, like with this, and really establish myself, I think. And we can go back to it later, I hope, you know. And that's kind of where we're at now, I think. My guitar player, Antonio Glass, fucking Big Tone, he's my man. He's my rock and music, I think. And he's always been there. It's always been me and him in the front seats, man. Like, everyone else slept in the bench seats, and we had the fucking driver's seat and the passenger seat the whole fucking tour, every tour.
Wow.
I mean, dude, that's it. Like, he was my boy. Like, I wouldn't let anyone drive. Like,
really?
That was my man. Like, I don't trust anyone. Like,
yep.
I had issues. You know, I had trust issues. Whatever. And, there was a time on tour, like, I had a tooth pulled, like, on tour, still singing every night, and like, whoa. I was like, Tony, you gotta drive. I can't do it. And that was like when I knew. I was like, all right, Tone's my dog. Like, he's got it. I can trust him. It was weird that the van was like the test, you know. But
it becomes the test. You know, somebody's got your life and the rest of the dude's life in their hands. People need to.
Yeah, I used to be really bad. I was like, no, I'm good. I'd hit the rumble strip every fucking 3 seconds. I'm good.
No.
You know, no one ever wants to fold to that. And then like a couple years later, you're like, nah, fuck that. Why are we driving? Like, let's pull over. You know? So that's kind of my thing.
I've seen band members, I won't name who, slapping themselves in the face during the drive, dude. Like
I've been there, and I brought that to the table, and the start of every tour I tour manage, I tell the openers too. Like, I know this is tough. There are long drives on this tour, and that is the first thing I say is, be late, don't be stupid. Like, if you need to pull over, you call me. You fucking say, hey, we're gonna be a little late. Sorry, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't be fucking stupid and try to push through a fucking 16-hour drive because you're worried about the TM getting mad at you. No, dude,
Right.
like, don't be stupid and be like, oh, showed up 5 hours late because, we got a hotel. I mean, if you're late, you're late, but, I'd rather you be late than dead.
Right,
Is
right.
what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that happened on our tour, actually. One band didn't take
yeah.
place. They wanted to be early every day, and they ended up fucking tired driving, hit a fucking deer, ruined the rest of their tour.
Ugh.
So,
Yeah, plan.
whatever.
If you're watching, you're trying to do the touring thing, plan your drives out, give yourself a lot of time, and hopefully you have a sick TM like Nick who doesn't mind if you're late a little bit if you gotta make the drives safely.
Yeah, man.
But...
I mean, I think a tour packages is, we're all a team. We're all there to make one big show fucking happen, and that's the thing. I mean, and if it's a bigger tour and I'm okay, I do a lot of, Frank, I'm sure does the same, like Hotels.com. Every 10 fucking hotel rooms, you get a free night, so that shit racks up. Yeah, So a lot of times I have a bunch of free rooms on there, dude. Like, if an opening band is like, hey, man, like, I always ask them, it's like, do you have a place to stay? I know there's a day off. Like, are you guys good? Like, always check if the bands are good, man.
Yeah.
If everyone is cool to you, be cool to them. And, I have no issue, like, getting a band a room here and there. Like,
what a guy.
Dude, I do it to my internal bleeding. I manage those guys, and they're on the road. They're sleeping in the van every night. It's like, will you guys stop? Like, here's 2 rooms. Go. Like, take care of yourselves. Get a shower, do the thing. So, anytime a band on my tour needs something, I'm always there for them. So.
Well, like I said before, hopefully you're lucky enough to have fucking this guy TMing on one of your tours. And yeah, can't say enough good things, man, about the last one that we did. And obviously I've done, I don't know, definitely not as many as you, but 30 or 40 now. And you're up there with some of my favorite TMs. So.
Oh, thanks, dude. Top 2 in the world right here, what I'm saying?
You and Frank. So Frank's got to TM something I do at some point. Or I just got to like go and follow him around on a tour or some shit.
I don't know if you guys can afford us, but I mean.
Yeah, right. We're working on it.
We'll get there.
Fucking our boy, fucking Charlie is in the chat. He says, Nick, where's my bottle?
Oh my God, Charlie, how you doing, Chuck?
Chuck.
Fuck, man.
Dude, one of my favorite people,
Chuck,
man.
I got a bottle of Gentleman Jack in the freezer, homie. Come on by.
But keep your 6 feet, all right? We'll give it to you, but you got to keep your 6 feet.
Everyone knows Suffocation loves to party, so I mean that's my life with them every morning. Where's the bottle? I love those dudes. They give me gray hair, but fuck, man, like it's never a dull moment on a Suffocation tour. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah, we were out with them in Europe, and then obviously we did the last U.S. tour with them as well, and I'm pretty sure I just gushed about them for like 20 minutes on the episode that I did with Terrence. But I can't say enough good things about that band, man, aside from like...
It's funny, I was talking to someone this past week, and we were like, how the fuck did John get Terrence on the fucking show? That guy won't post a picture on Instagram, but he'll get on the goddamn show. Like,
Terrence is my boy, dude. Terrence is my fucking boy. And I don't know what it is, but he likes me for some reason. And I love that, dude. Somebody tagged me in something today on Facebook that one of these, like, I don't know, it was called like brutal death metal pages or some shit like that. The page has like 300,000 likes on it or something crazy. And they posted this picture of me and Terrence in Europe where I've got a joint. I rolled a joint probably, it's got to be like a 6 or 7 inch joint. and probably an inch wide. I like rolled up the entire tour package's weed right before we went and did a border crossing in Europe, and I'm like in the picture. Terrence has the J. I'm lighting the J for him, and it's just me and him in this picture, and it's like one of my favorite tour moments ever. Just like, because dude's such a legend, man, and he's like one of the most humble fucking guys who's as
Yes.
legendary as he is. Um, so Alex Mongol, I don't know him personally. I know he's in the game, but he says Nick is my favorite TM. He kisses us every morning. Nick, where the fuck were our kisses, motherfucker? What the fuck?
You were late.
I was late. Those were all in the first half of the tour. You only do first half tour kisses.
Oh man, I think your drummer ended up in our bus one night, and man, we took some pictures. Man, later we could. I'll post them in the chat later.
Please do.
But we
Please
took some
do.
pictures of him. Just he stayed up all night working on some tour video.
That
And,
sounds like Tony.
I woke up to this kid like on the couch, like, and I was like, "Who the fuck's this?" Like,
Oh yeah. You guys kidnapped him for a couple days, and yeah, he did some sick work. So, little Tony plug. If you're looking for some audio video work, hit up our drummer Tonebone at Zen Beast Media. He's the man. He's gonna be happy that I called him that on the show. So dude, you're from Tampa?
Originally, I'm from Long Island.
Oh, okay. No shit.
And yeah. It's funny because originally, a little side note, before my first tour with Suffocation, Terrence did not want one guy to run TM and merch. He didn't want the same person handling all money, which I think that it's better if one person is handling everything. Yeah. In theory, right? You know, you got two people, two separate piles of money, like shit's whatever.
Yep.
I think, you know, I had done a tour with Cattle right before that, and they're on the same management, and Terrence was just like, no, and they were like, just talk to him, you know, like, you know. So I basically had like an interview with Terrence, and I was like, dude, you know, just telling him about me. I'm like, you know, I'm originally from Long Island, you know. He's like, oh, you're from New York? That's it, you're hired, you're good. I was like, I was like, that's it, like, that's it. Like, he's like, yeah, Travis called me from Cattle. He said you're good, and you're from New York. All right.
Yeah, like, that's such a spot on Terrence impression too.
I got really good at the Terrence impersonations, man. Like,
Matos.
Yeah, dude, with my bottle. Yeah, can I get a PD, man? I was like, you know, like,
that's amazing.
So, I love Terrence. He's one of the best dudes. He's one of the best dudes in the industry too. Like, in terms of, you know, if you take care of him, he's gonna take care of you too. Yep. He's one of those guys too. Old fashioned, like, can be kind of stubborn and hard headed sometimes, but who isn't?
Yeah.
You know, but in the end, that guy is always there for you. He will give you the shirt off his back. So totally. Props to Terrence. Miss you, dude, if you're hanging out. I know Charlie's here, so
miss you too.
I think I have given Charlie a shirt off my back once. So there's been some good nights with him.
Charlie, what you doing losing your shirt, bud?
Dude, that kid is, man, halfway through the bottle, that kid's losing his wallet and his shirt.
Oh no.
But drunk Charlie looks out for sober Charlie, and he hides his wallet in his bunk.
Nice. He's learned. Killer. So you're from Long Island. When did you end up in Tampa?
Oh man, we moved there. I was a little younger. I think I moved there when I was like 10 or something like that. You know, and kind of grew up-ish there too, and which is fine. I think it's this weird like thing where like every New Yorker doesn't want to admit that they actually grew up somewhere else. So yeah, I grew up kind of two places, man. I had the young childhood in New York and Long Island, and it was just awesome, family all the time, and then, you know, wiffle ball in the fucking yard and a pool, and it was awesome. And then we moved to Florida, and it was just like, man, you don't know anyone here.
Yeah.
It was a battle, essentially. We moved a lot. So Friends, that wasn't like a thing, and then there was like music. But I've always been in chorus. I was in chorus in third grade, and then was always into like singing and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it kind of grew, and then I hit high school, and we did. They had a radio program, so I was in radio all 4 years of high school.
Yeah.
We did broadcasting and music and all this stuff, and I learned a lot about like that kind of side of the industry, and there were definitely some like metal kids in that class, and that's where I first learned of like Goat Whore and Deicide and Morbid Angel from this one
Sick.
like kid who was like, I'm the satanic one in the school, you know, and I was like, okay, and he was like, yo man, listen to Deicide. You ever see that video on YouTube? It's like he's like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to Deicide.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what that kid
It was that kid? Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so we would check these bands out, like Moto Grader and like shit like that. And
So what did you
yeah,
listen to
that was
before
about
that? Was there like a transition, or was it
2000.
just like, I don't know, you were jamming fucking Bruce Springsteen and then like Deicide?
It's funny because my parents are like polar opposites, and it's like my dad was always into the Eagles and Phil Collins and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And my mom was like Guns N' Roses, Whitesnake, fucking to Gloria Estefan, and fucking it was all over the place. So
Yeah.
it was cool in that aspect. So it's still to this day, like Hannah and I went out to the store and we were listening to Frank Sinatra. It was,
Nice.
so it's kind of all over the place. So when I got into metal, I was like, yeah, sick, all right, like and then like some kids were like starting a band in high school, and I was like, yeah, let's start a band, and that obviously didn't go anywhere. Like that was garbage. And then
Your first band
when I
always is
joined-
garbage, dude.
Oh, dude, it was like we never even had a practice. We made T-shirts and shit. We were
You're already in the merch game. right before
dude, we were in the. So that if that wasn't a sign, now that I think about it, then I don't know what was.
Yeah.
So, I was the first one. I was like, yeah, I gotta make a T-shirt. Like we never even like had a guitar or amps or anything.
Oh shit.
We just had a friend that like actually played drums, and another friend that had like an acoustic guitar, and we were like, yeah, we're gonna make it happen. Never happened. But yeah, so then I got into music that way, and ended up joining a band, and it was cool. Kind of shit unfolds as you go.
Nice, rad. So, as you kind of came up, you talked a little bit about how you got into the game. So, do you have, similarly to Frank, who kind of gave us a little bit of insight, do you have some tips on guys just getting started? Again, we'll say post-Corona. We can even say like, let's put us in a world where like after Corona, everything's how it was before. What would be some tips for folks getting into the game?
Get a real job.
Don't.
No. I mean, if this is something that you really want to do, I mean, it's a fucking tough grind. I mean, if you're starting out,
Yeah.
man, you got a lot of dudes like me and Frank that have put in our time, and I urge you to stick with it. But you got to remember that you got to prove yourself hardcore nowadays, especially nowadays. I mean, bands got these guys that they trust and they've known for a while, and
Yep.
and that's great. I mean, I'm very fortunate to have worked with a lot of awesome bands that have taken care of me for taking care of them, and learning, like Frank was saying, learning multiple things, and just a little bit, so that you know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
It helps a lot. So I generally TM and merch, pretty much. It's rare that I only do merch on a tour, and I was slated to do just merch on Sepultura, and I was so stoked to have just like, I'm setting up, restocking, and hanging out for once, like that didn't happen. But usually I'm TMing and merching and doing multiple things and going. I try to go above and beyond every day and make sure everyone is taken care of, not just my band. So I take care of my band, I set up my stuff, I take care of that. And you have a lot going on through the day when you're tour managing. So it's like you are first one up, last one to sleep every time. Like,
yeah, break that down for us actually, since you're getting into it. So what's your day like? I guess beginning to end, so people can kind of get an idea. Because I think maybe from the outside, people are like, oh, this guy tour manages a band and he's not playing the shows or anything. He's just like they're just waking up and he's fucking raging with those guys like the whole fucking day. And obviously, I know that's not the case, but
Yeah, no, I mean we have our moments where we get that time to just chill and hang out with everyone and have fun. But in general, like when you break it down, it's like if you're tour managing, it's like, dude, everything is on your shoulders, and you are the one in charge. You are the one to make sure everyone is taken care of, and make sure the band gets paid, make sure merch is taken care of. I mean, you got to make sure your crew guys are on top of their shit. And in general, when you're at the caliber that Frank and I like, those kinds of tours, your crew guys know what the fuck they're doing. You don't have to worry so much about them because, in general, like it's much like any team. Like you're only as strong as your weakest link.
yeah,
So if you got a crew guy that's like ass, I mean, you got to pick up that slack, right?
Yep.
Like, you got to make sure that he's taking care of your artist. And I mean, I've been on a tour where I've had a crew guy that was not good, and sometimes you gotta let him go. Like, how do you fire someone like in the middle of nowhere, dude? It like it fucks with you, man. Like it's like
yeah,
like,
it's more shock because then like you have to like be in a room with them until they leave. Like,
yeah, it was like no, in that like two instances actually. Like one was it was like a matter of like telling your crew guys like, hey, don't load their shit into the trailer. I was like,
shit.
And then I had to go talk to him, and it was like, fuck, like, what do you do? And then, but luckily he was okay. He saw it kind of like it was a big mess. But then there was another time it was just like, okay, well, we got to replace this guy because he's not good. So it was a matter of like, hey, we're going to the airport, pick someone up. But also, when we get there, you're getting off. Like,
oh man, you want to hang out here instead? Actually, we're gonna go do the rest of the tour.
Yeah, so it's always like a weird, awkward thing. But then once like that part is gone, it's almost like your whole camp has like this rejuvenated moment.
Morale, dude, morale's huge on tour.
Everything's good, and or else it's it's just more stress and slack and bullshit that you have to deal with as a TM, and it doesn't make anyone else comfortable on the bus either, So, and I think that's like rule number one is like day one of tours, like for me, and I'm TMing, once everyone is in the bus, I just kind of have like a meeting in the lounge and go, hey, look, we all need to be comfortable. We're 12 different people, and we're raised 12 different ways.
Yeah. And
we all have fucking different likes and dislikes, so it's a matter of like you have to be what's the word I'm looking for here, conscious, I guess, about everyone else around you. You can't just like live like you live at home and just this is it's selfishly, I guess,
right.
And oh shit, my lock just broke. But you can't live selfishly. You have to make sure that everyone else around you is comfortable, and they'll do the same for you. So I mean, and the biggest, clean up after yourself, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of going throughout your day, I got sidetracked. Dude, I wake up. Depending on the tour too, depending on the artist. Like some artists are more. They need more than others. Some artists want more than others, and if you go above and beyond for them, they will generally really respect that. They thank you, and when something does happen, where I said some, Frank's over here. But in general, but that's the thing. I've been really fortunate. I've worked with really good bands and artists in general. I do a lot of work with Gus G, who I forgot to mention why, I don't know, but I think I was just in the band mindset.
No shit.
Gus played for Ozzy for quite some time.
Yeah.
And when I first worked with him, I thought, okay, here's a high caliber artist. It's gonna be a needy motherfucker.
Right.
And dude, my first tour with him, he was a go-getter. He was doing his solo stuff in the States, and he needed a TM, he needed a merch guy, he needed a van, he needed a trailer, and I had all of that. So
damn.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, the guy, and the guy that was going to play drums for him at the time knew me and set it up. And basically, long story short, on that end, I worked really hard for him, and I made sure that he was taken care of, and he ended up being the best, hands down, best dude I've ever met in my life. To the point of like we're really close now still, and I'm kind of like a right hand man kind of guy over here in the States. Like whenever he's here, I'm here. Like we go to Nam, he goes to Nam, I'm there. Like
Oh, sick.
I fucking will do anything for that guy, because he showed me that tour. We had an issue with a guy in New York, one of the promoters. We just walked in the building, and he was like screaming at me for like dumb shit, and I was like, I didn't say a word yet. Me and his guitar tech were just standing there, and he hears this guy like yelling and cursing at me from outside.
Yeah.
So he comes in, he's like, what the hell's going on? And I was like, dude, I didn't say a word yet. And he was like, all right. So he just looked at the guy. He was like, hey, no one's gonna talk to my crew like that. No one's gonna talk to me like that. We're gonna go. He's like, put the stuff back in the trailer. We're out of here. I was like, oh shit, all right, like sick.
Damn.
Like
What a G.
all
Literally.
right.
Gus
So,
G. What a fucking
so we
G.
get in the van, and he was like, yo, let's go to lunch. I'll buy. So he took us to lunch, and he's like, we're just gonna let him sweat it out. We'll roll back and we'll see if he's ready to talk, you know. And I was like, all right. So we go back, and he just laid down the law. He's like, this is my TM. This is my crew. They've been taking care of me the whole fucking tour. They're the best dudes, and you are not going to talk to them like that. If you're going to talk to me like that, I'll walk right now. You already paid. You know, like, you don't treat people like that in general. And at that point, I was like, fuck, like, this dude, he taught me a lot. And we had a talk after that, and he was basically like, dude, you don't let anyone treat you like that. It doesn't matter who they are. You know, I played with Ozzy. They treated me right. And I saw them. People that got treated badly, they fucking sent them packing. Like, there was a lighting, like a rigger guy.
Yeah.
And he said something fucked up to Gus's guitar tech because he was from Greece. So his English isn't like the best and,
Right.
and whatever. He said something stupid. And Gus was like, get down here. They went to the office, and that guy, dude, see ya. Like,
Wow.
you don't treat people how you wouldn't want to be treated in general. And he taught me that right away, and I saw him stood up for me.
Yeah. What
So
a badass
right then and
dude.
there, it changed my whole mindset. I went home, I quit my job. I was like, I'm touring. Like, here we go. And so going back to that is like, I've worked with a band before that said some stupid shit. Like, they were drunk and they were like, you know, angry, and they were yelling around. And I was like, all right, well, pay me. I'm out of here. And they're like, what? And I was like, I'm not going to work for people that are going to treat me like that. So
Yeah.
if you want to talk about this and we can move forward, cool. But if this is how it's going to be the rest of the tour, like, I'm out, dude. See ya. And they apologized, yada, yada, yada. It got worked out. And we were fine. It was good. But it's to the point where, like, I've done well for myself.
Yeah.
I think, you know, in the touring realm. I fucking climbed the ladders. We ate the shit. Same with Frank. Like, I'm going on, 2007 to now is, almost, 13, 14 years
13
almost.
years, man, yeah.
In just as much time, we ate the shit, did tours for free, slept in vans, slept in fucking weird people's houses. Like, you know, and you get to the point where, cool, I made it to a bus. I made it to TM status. And then that's where you kind of make your mindset. And then back to that, I try not to work for bands that don't appreciate me.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to be there. I don't have to pick up your fucking dirty socks in the bunk hallway. I don't have to take out the trash or clean the fucking pisser, you know,
Yeah.
like, but I do that because you guys appreciate me, you take care of me, and that's why I go above and beyond. So in my mornings, I generally try to wake up, you know, generally by 8.
Wow.
You know, depending on when the bus is going to arrive at a venue or whatever. Sometimes it's earlier. If it's a short drive, I'll just take a quick nap. I wake up, make sure that the bus gets parked, drive her to a hotel, I'll go back to sleep. And then I generally wake up early. I clean up the lounge. I make the coffee. I get on my computer. I start printing day sheets. I make last-minute emails to the promoter for the day, like your shop list or your dressing room stuff or, anything that you're going to need last minute. I just send right over in the morning. I get the guys, the crew ready to rock. And there'll be days where, hey, cool, we did really well last night in merch, or I made like $100 in tips. I'll go out and I'll get, donuts and coffee and whatever, and I'll bring it back to the bus. And,
Nice.
I generally try to share that tip money on really good nights to everyone else. You know what I mean? Like, I'll buy dinner after show and stuff like that on good nights, Frank. Frank's like, fuck that. No, but I mean, like, generally with crews that deserve it, when they're working hard for me, I after show we'll go get food and a drink or whatever, and I'll just buy like whatever,
Yeah.
because I appreciate them. And when they see that, it works the same way. It's like, dude, if you go above and beyond for your crew, anything I ask, they will do. They will handle, no questions asked.
Yeah.
So it goes full swing. So getting back to the day, load in time. You're in there first, hanging day sheets, getting stuff sorted, gear's coming in, merch is coming in. You got to make sure your merch is going to the right area, because God knows Frank and I love searching for our fucking merchandise boxes.
Sounds like the best part.
Yeah, man. Just try to it's tough because you try to basically coaching, making sure everything is situated at the same time as you're trying to make sure that your merch is set up. And then once you're done with that, you got to restock your merch. So you're in the fucking trailer when everyone's inside going, whoa, what about this? What about this? Do we have this? Where's the TM? It's like, all right, fuck, give me a break. Give me 5 minutes. Let me run out. Let me grab the shit I need. I'll come back in. So it's if you have a good crew that you can count on, you won't have an issue restocking and not being in the building.
Right.
So it's a tough fucking day, man. And then you got to think, we're in the building all day. We're working all day because half the time we're not even ready by doors. And then when doors open, you're like, oh fuck, I still need this. Or, oh shit, I didn't eat dinner. Or, that's life. So my break time is the 15 minutes I walk away from the merch table when my band first goes on stage. Because when your headliner goes on, okay, you got 15, 20. No one's going to come to the merch table right now. They're all watching. So
exactly.
I go to the bus, I make a coffee, I get a snack, take a piss, whatever. Then you go back, and that's normally 10:30, 11 at night, and you've been in that building since fucking 1 p.m. So after the show, you got to count out. You got to fucking settle. You got to get paid. You got to deal with the merch stuff, and then you got to finish the trailer pack, and you got to make sure everyone has done their shit. You do a last-minute sweep of the dressing room, the venue, the stage, the merch area. 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. every day, basically. Yeah, I mean, you're going 12 hours straight. That's a normal day, though. That's a normal day. And then you got those European summer festival days.
Oh man.
When it's an artist sells and you're out there for 16 hours, fucking straight,
oh fuck.
It's fucking shit, dude. And your closest person is fucking a mile away on the festival grounds. You know, it's brutal. But in general, a tour, 12 p.m., 12 a.m., all day, every day. And then when, for me, I don't stop, because once I get on the bus, after the trailer's done by midnight, I go on the bus. I got, you got to order after show food, while they're on stage. You got to make sure everyone got their food. You got to make sure crew's taken care of. You make sure everyone knows the bus call. I mean, and then I'll go and start prepping for the next day. Make sure the parking map and parking instructions are on the driver's seat for when he gets back. You making the day sheet for the next day, making sure, prepping for that. so that in the morning when you wake up and you start printing everything's still correct. Like, because God knows tour books are never correct. Dude, I mean, I appreciate. Let me throw this out there. I appreciate the tour managers that make tour books. I think that your head is in your heart is in the right place, but I
I
know
love how
that
Frank is just losing it right now.
I know that those fucking times are not going to be right.
Yeah.
So stop printing books. It's stupid. Just make a fucking day sheet every day. That's essentially what the tour book is.
And then put it in a book after if you want.
You just wasted 7 trees. You wasted it. So, again, like, I like the organization. You want to make tour books with the fucking, like, restaurants in every city that's near the venue? Sick! Great! Just do that. Don't give me false hopes that we're going to load in on time. Like, so, I mean, in general, I give everyone an outline. Like, this is what a normal daily thing will be. If it changes, whatever, that's how it's gonna roll. But tour books I hate. So, in general, it's a long fucking day. It's a long day for most crew guys in general. Guitar techs, they're fucking nerds, man. I love them to death, but any little thing on a guitar, they're just like, let me take it apart again and fucking put it back together, and I'll skip dinner. It's like, all right.
Yeah, those guys are all.
Yeah, like, it's tuned up, but I just feel like I could clean that fretboard one more time.
Let me do it again.
So I mean, they have long days too, but I mean, they do get opportunities to like go take a nap before the show. Like we don't get that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I appreciate you outlining that. Again, we can get so far into it that we can not realize that the majority of people who just attend shows as a guest have no fucking idea the kind of work that goes into it from the crew. So it's, I don't know. I've from what I've seen, anyone that their opinion is worth a damn, they will always tell you that the crew are the people that are fucking making the show happen. That we're showing up and playing the music, but the crew are the guys that are keeping things going how they should be. So again, this all goes back to For the Nomads. Again, that's what we're doing here, raising money for the Nomads, for that organization. So again, forthenomads.org. Go ahead and
absolutely
donate into that.
Get on there.
Get on there.
Are we still at 36? Did we break? We didn't break the line yet, but it's gonna happen tonight. Don't worry about it.
It's gonna happen. We'll share this around, and then I'll also cut some clips up of this whole thing, and we'll hopefully get a more of a push there. So Nick, before we wrap, I've got 2 questions for you. The first one: what is like the most outrageous request you've gotten from an artist?
Man. Oh man, I don't know if I could tell the story without like really. Oh. Let's just say it was like a thing where homeboy wanted me to like clean his pants off, but he was wearing them, like.
Guys, it was me. I
wish I could tell the story, but I can't.
No, it's fine.
That. But there's some fucked up like requests from some artists that feel entitled as hell, and it's just like, what? It's like I wouldn't do that for like me, like not for you, like. So, but again, I mean, if it's an artist, it's like for Gus. I'd do anything for that guy, dude. Like, you want me to clean your pants off? I'll wipe them off, man. Whatever. But there's some people out there that are just like, whoa. Like, when they feel entitled and they have that headspace, like, I'm so and so. It's like, all right, it makes me like hate you. Like, you suck. But when they're just a dude in your eyes, like, it's like I understand you went through shit to get here.
Yeah.
I get it. I went through shit to get here. Like, we are people. I am working for you, and I will do what you ask, but when you ask of me things that are not on my duty list, like
Yeah.
it's
I
weird.
I don't think the
So I don't
wiping
know.
of
I
the
mean,
fucking pants. No, that's
yeah, like I said, I mean, in general, like I've been really fortunate, man. I haven't had
yeah,
like bands request like outrageous stuff. I mean, when it comes to like beers and drinks and stuff like that, it's pretty the norm. But
yeah.
I haven't gotten anything crazy. I don't know if you've ever met Trey Asgoth from Morbid Angel,
I haven't. No, no, not. I think did we?
but
I think we may have played a show with them, but
he requests some things that are just so off the wall, like hey, next time you go into Walmart, will you get me a little kid fishing rod? Like, I'm
what
like,
for
okay,
what?
like, yeah. I'm just like, okay, like,
Is he like
sure.
is he like keeping you in check? Like
Oh, he just has these ideas sometimes, and he rolls with them, dude. Like,
nice.
he likes to go rat fishing, and he'll like,
Rat
he'll
fishing.
put like fucking peanut butter on a hook and just start throwing it in dumpsters.
Oh my god.
He's
Hey,
funny, man.
you gotta keep busy
He's
on
a
tour
sweetheart
somehow.
though, man. He's funny as shit. But what
Nice.
was your next question?
So my last one before we wrap. So obviously you've got a fucking killer list of bands that you've worked with. Do you have like a dream band? Like there's a band like this is it for you. Like
The world we knew.
ah.
Yeah.
Ah.
No, I did love that band though at the time. So I mean, I still do. I mean, it was a fun band. It was that era. It
Yeah.
was sick. I love that band. So I'm gonna listen to The World We Knew after this while I'm fucking playing some video games and finishing some emails. But a dream band, man. I honestly don't know. I mean, I've worked with a lot of great artists, and I've had a lot of good times,
Yeah.
and felt those like feelings already, and I think that topping it with like, I don't know. I mean, I did Testament last summer, like in
Oh
Europe,
man.
and we played some like arenas and stuff with Slipknot.
Wow.
So it was like, it was kind of those moments where I was like, fuck, like this is sick. To where the hospitality guy came in and was like, hey, the Slipknot TM really wants a pick from Testament, and I was like, oh. I was
Some
like,
leverage.
great. Yeah, because I needed it. This is where I'm going. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, well, I want some Slipknot picks. That's fucking rad, And he was like,
Yeah.
okay. So we traded. And then like 2 days later, we're at another festival, and Slipknot's touring party is like 150 people or something.
What the fuck?
Yes, every towel was in that like room, and we had like a 36-hour drive ahead of us. Like it was stupid, and it was in Italy, uh, like the hottest heat wave ever,
Yeah.
dude. And literally, just stepping out of the bus, I was just drenched in sweat. I was like, "What is this?" I live in Florida, but that was like a new level.
Really?
So all the towels were gone. I was like, okay, someone used 2 towels. Who the fuck was it? Like they had no more towels. I went to the hospitality girl and I was like, hey, there's no more towels. Can I get one more towel? I just need to shower real quick and we'll be out of here. We got to roll. And she's like, oh no, Slipknot has all the towels. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean they have all the towels? How many
Fuck.
towels are there? Like, I was like, this festival's huge. So she's like, you can ask them maybe. So I go to Slipknot's production office, and the guy is in there. And I walked in, and there's literally just pallets of towels behind him.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, hi, you remember me? And he's like, yeah, hey, Nick, how you doing? I was like, oh my god, he knows my name. Sick, perfect. I was like, hey, can I just have one towel? And he was like, yeah, like, of course. We don't need all these. And I was like, oh my god.
Oh, dude.
So I got a towel from Slipknot and a pick, so that's cool. so I think at that level, that was kind of like the best feeling in that kind of realm. You know what I mean? So I can't really say like what band would be my dream band to work for. I think that every band is different until you meet them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. I mean, I'm just gonna ride this roller coaster, man. Try not to take everything for granted, and you just try to roll with it and do the best you can and take care of each other as you go. You know.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Like I said, the insight into, for everyday folks that don't know what the fuck goes on in green rooms and venues before doors open and, the hours after and all that bullshit. I know I can say I fucking appreciate it. I really hope that the bands you continue to work for show you the love that you guys all deserve. And again, for those of you that are able and willing, check out forthenomads.org, where
Please.
again you can help out everyone right now who make the shows that you love watching happen. They're the ones that are from the tour managers like Nick, Nick and Frank, who are working fucking 12 plus hours a day, to the guitar techs, to drum techs and all that shit, everybody. So Frank's doing an awesome job of really helping out, like he said, about 150 different folks in the industry right now. So, dude, thank you again. And so before you go, plug your Twitch and whatever else you got going on.
Yeah. So I just started doing the Twitch thing. This is my little guy. It's so stupid, but it's awesome. So Big Buddy Nick on Twitch. I'm trying to make a nice platform for, I play video games. I do touring. I do a lot of stuff with bands and music and gaming, and so hopefully we can. I can stream on tour and show people, like, hey, like, this is a full-on day. Like, if I can somehow hook up like a body cam to Twitch, that'll be cool.
That'd be sick.
It's a full-on day. So if people want to see how it is behind the scenes, like, let's go, let's do it. So, Big Buddy Nick. I'm gonna talk to Frank after this, but maybe this weekend I'm gonna do like a 24-hour stream with a donation bar up there. We can raise some money for the Nomads, and I'll play some video games, and every kill I get, like a marathon, or like one of those fundraisers. Every lap you did around the track was 20 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That'd
24 hours of just gaming and fucking fun, and come hang out. And so hopefully we'll post something up about that. We'll discuss some details, and that should be cool. We could do something like that this weekend.
Hell yeah, we already know. Let me know, and I'll push it wherever I can too. And hopefully, if you do it on Saturday, I can catch some of it.
Hell yeah.
While I'm not at the dispensary. And then also keep an eye out for the sick apparel line that Nick and I are going to be coming out with as soon as we land on a name.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, awesome, dude. Well, thanks again so much. I hope that I see you again on a tour after all this bullshit is over, and I love you, and we will hang soon.
Hell yeah, man. Love you too, brother. Stay safe. Post-Rona, we're hitting the road. Let's do it.
Hell yeah, we are. All right, take care, man.
You too, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us again on another Wednesday edition of the Big Shred podcast. This was episode 10, the For the Nomads special. Fucking awesome that we were able to break the $36,000 mark for those donations. Frank again is going to be doing a double mohawk thing if we hit 40. So I'm going to continue to push it on all of my socials and stuff. Again, Abiotic is selling this sick new logo tee design, and 75% of the profits of that are going to be donated to the Nomad fundraiser, or again forthenomads.org. So it's actually changed since then, but it'll be going to the right place. And again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you at the same time this Saturday. I'm actually going to be hanging out with Joel Ullmans from Rings of Saturn. So if you are around, come hang, and I will see you all soon. Take care.